unanimous consent to introduce into the record a study that Mr. Kennedy just referenced, new insights into genetic susceptibility of COVID-19. The main body said that they investigated genetic susceptibility to COVID-19 by examining DNA polymorphism in ACE2 and TMPRSS2. Those are receptors for COVID in 81,000 human genomes, and they found unique genetic susceptibility across different populations. I have another document that I would like to ask unanimous consent.
Without objection.
To submit, and this is from the FDA review of efficacy and safety of Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine. This is dated December 10th, 2020, and it shows that the Pfizer trial and the USDA broke down the effectiveness of the vaccine into 7 different racial categories, because this was also a concern of theirs, and it would frankly be delinquent not to study the effects across the different
races. But Mr. Kennedy said it was bioengineered to target blacks and Caucasians.
The gentleman from Utah is recognized for 5 minutes.
And spare Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese people. That is different than
Time belongs to the gentleman from Utah.
Thank you, claiming my time. Mr. Kennedy, you've had some accusations thrown at you today. I'm going to ask my questions briefly and give you a chance to respond to that at the end of my time here. Ms. Wiley, if I could talk to you. And I know maybe you're busy, with something else there, but do you trust the government to determine what facts and views the American people should be exposed to?
I trust that we have a process whereby we can interrogate what we hear and learn from the government, but certainly I expect the government to share facts and information.
That wasn't my question. I didn't say share facts and information. I said, do you trust the government to determine what facts and views the American people should be exposed to and which ones they should not?
Well, I think I'm struggling with the question because that is not the facts of the case in Missouri.
Simple
in Missouri
question.
versus
I'm not talking about
Biden,
Missouri. I'm not talking about Missouri. Hey. I'm not talking about Missouri. This is a very simple question. Do you trust the government to determine what facts and views the American people are exposed to?
I am not aware of any action of the government that tells the American public what facts they should be exposed to.
You're not aware of that?
No, I am not.
Oh my gosh, where have you lived for the last 3 years?
In the United States of America.
Let me ask you, China suppresses free speech. Is that a good thing?
No, of course not.
Iran, Mullah Zare suppress free speech. Is that a good thing?
No, of course not.
Vladimir Putin suppresses. Is that a good thing?
No, we all agree we should not suppress free speech.
We agree then that the government government leaders should not suppress free speech. Do you agree with that?
That's a different question. Yes, it is unconstitutional for the government to pass laws that would abridge free speech. That's the First Amendment.
Not pass laws, but to create pressure that would suppress free speech. Vladimir Putin doesn't pass a law.
Yes.
He exerts his force and influence to suppress free speech.
Yes, the case law says that the government cannot coerce private entities.
And we agree that's a bad idea, don't we?
Yes, and I would absolutely agree when
Donald
Trump threatened social media companies with federal regulation shutdown, that was coercion.
That's not my question.
Oh, I know, but I think it was consistent to show that we agree.
Here's my question for you. We agree the government shouldn't be responsible for restricting views that the American people are exposed to. We agree on that, right? You wouldn't answer it at first, but it's clear that you do agree with that.
That's a different question.
Okay, so to my question, do you agree with it or not?
I agree that the government should not violate our Constitution.
Do you agree with my question?
Your question is
should the government
whether or not
this is so simple.
No, it is not so simple.
No, I'm going to ask it one time, and it is so simple. A 7th grader could understand this question. Should the government be responsible for the views and the facts that the American people are exposed to?
The problem I have is that I don't know of any facts in which the government tells us what to believe.
I'm going to say that you're unable to answer a question, which for me is fairly shocking as an American citizen. Let me ask you now then, having concluded that you're unaware of suppression of free speech in the last several years, what about, for example...
That's not actually what I said, but thank you.
Do you think it was appropriate for the FBI to pressure private companies to censor and take down posts that the government disagreed with? Was that appropriate? I'll give you an example that you were unaware of. I'm glad you're aware of it now. Was that appropriate for the government to do that?
Sir, the only thing that is appropriate for the government to do is what it is lawfully allowed to do, both under the Constitution and the laws of this country,
Which is?
which is to conduct its criminal investigations appropriately to our laws and to our policy.
So they didn't have the ability then to go to these private companies and to say they can't.
There are instances in which, in order to protect the integrity of a criminal prosecution, they may ask. Sometimes news agencies and others
Certainly agree with
withhold.
that. Was that the case
Yeah.
here? Was there any criminal prosecutions involved with these cases? Not that I'm
There were
aware of.
criminal investigations are not prosecutions.
Okay, criminal
and also
investigations?
the integrity of criminal.
Were there any criminal investigations regarding these examples?
Which examples are those, sir?
For example, anything regarding the Hunter Biden laptop?
Well, there are lots of things that have been said in public media about Hunter Biden's laptop. There was a criminal investigation, in fact, a plea in that case.
Does it bother you that 51 former intelligence officials made a determination that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation, which they admit, by the way, they had no evidence at all that that was true. Zero evidence that that was true. Does that bother you they did that?
What bothers me tremendously is that while there are a lot of things we should be talking about with regard to whether or not the government at times exceeds its authority, that includes whether or not government exceeds its authority when it tries to censor or interfere with research or research institutions, where any White House official such as Donald Trump actually threatens the full power of the federal government, including the threat to shut down social media because they put a fact check label on a tweet.
Expired.
Mr. Chairman, I have a unanimous consent request.